Dreamers because I believe that students shouldn't have to wait until after they graduate high school to start acting on their ambitions. And through this group, I've been able to meet so many like-minded people and network with great alumni like we have here tonight from so many different industries. So yeah, it's been great, and I would encourage everyone to join us at our weekly meetings.
Hi, I'm Paige Albright. I'm a sophomore. I joined Big Dreamers because of like what everyone else said. I wanted to start networking in high school and looking at all the things that I could do with my future. I also host an alumni podcast for the West Side Story, so this would be a great way for me to get connections and be able to get hosts for future episodes and stuff.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about us and why we joined Big Dreamers. Now we are going to start introducing our alumni. I am going to paste an order in chat of how we're going to introduce them, and then later that order is going to be used for them to answer a couple of questions before we hop into breakout rooms. So first up, we have Abigail Buckwalter. She graduated from West High in 2001 and then attended the University of Wisconsin, where she earned degrees in journalism and African studies. She later earned her MBA from Columbia University in New York. Her job was at an advertising and marketing agency where she had Nestle as a client. Nestle ended up hiring her in brand management, and that led to a wild and fulfilling career that has resulted in her working and living in Switzerland, South America, Singapore, and Australia. After almost a decade abroad, she returned to the United States in 2018 as the Vice President of Marketing for Nestle Health Science North America. In her role, she manages a variety of brands and businesses units focused on health and wellness. Abigail lives in New Jersey with her husband and two children, and is still a diehard Hawkeye fan.
All right, and then we have Jenny. Jenny is a 1999 graduate of West High, and during her time at West, she played basketball, was involved in the 1440 leadership group, the Good Time Company, and was also a class president. She went on to attend the U.S. Military Academy, graduated in 2003, and was commissioned as a quartermaster officer in the United States Army. Jenny served with the 25th Infantry Division of the Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, and served in Afghanistan and Iraq in support of Operations Enduring and Iraqi Freedom. She returned to Iowa in 2008 with her husband Ben, and now helps run her family plumbing, heating, and air conditioning business, PSC Distribution, and their kitchen and bath showroom, Studio H2O, in Iowa City. She and her husband have two daughters, a son, and an Australian Shepherd named Ruby. And then we also have Tony. Tony graduated from West in 1996, where he played basketball, and he now owns and operates his own training facility in Las Vegas, focusing on biomechanics and movement quality.
Next, we have Maggie Taylor. After graduating from West in 2015, Maggie went to the University of Pennsylvania, where she double majored in health and societies and economics. Since 2019, Maggie has worked as a data and policy and analyst at Acumen, LLC based in San Francisco. Maggie's team at Acumen works with Centers for Medicare and Medicaid to implement value-based health insurance design. Since the pandemic, Maggie has been able to make the most of remote work by road tripping through different locations in Mountain West for 1 to 2 months at a time. In her spare time lately, she enjoys cooking and baking bread and watching YouTube videos about cooking and baking bread. At risk of embarrassing him, Maggie would like to mention you might know her younger brother, Ike.
All right, next we have Sri Raj Kantamneni. He was born in India, but he's lived in Iowa City since he was 5. He was a West High grad in year 2000. While he was at West, he was involved in the 1440 Club, Close Up, Student Senate, the Good Time Company, or show choir, and some set building too. He went on to study engineering at Iowa State University, and then he got a career working with Cargill in Minneapolis. In his time, he's gone to over 22 states and 16 countries for his work. After a few years working, he went and got his MBA from the Kellogg School of Management, part of Northwestern University. And then he worked for 3 years in Asia, still with Cargill. So he's currently the managing director of a digital ventures team. And what they do is invest in early stage tech disruption for agricultural and food industries. So he's really knowledgeable about like business and traveling, and also agriculture and investing, that kind of stuff.
And then next we have Wadud, a program manager at Microsoft by day and an entrepreneur and change agent by night. Wadud is a recent mechanical engineering graduate from Iowa State University whose experiences align more with computer science, energy systems, and entrepreneurship. With experiences ranging from teaching English to homeless men in New Delhi, India, to working at Tesla in California, Wadud has proven that where you start does not dictate where you will end up. While he takes pride in his successes, he is most passionate about helping others around the world achieve whatever goals they may have in mind. Regardless of the goal, he generally believes that anything can be achieved with the right mix of knowledge, networking, and confidence.
Next, we have Ted Keprose. Ted served as a faculty at the University of Iowa Physical Therapy doctorate program, teaching orthopedics from 1996 to 2002. Ted was a group director of 9 practices in Eastern Iowa for a large outpatient corporation prior to starting his own practice. Ted also served as the vice chair for the Iowa Physical Therapy Association Southeast District from 1998 to 2000. In 2013, Ted founded Keprose Physical Therapy and Performance, and in 2017 was nominated and awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year by the Corridor Business Journal, leading the company to double-digit growth 10 times over in just 4 years and employing over 23 employees. He would go on to create and expansion to 2 additional clinics in 2016 with an addition of a location in Marion and then a 3rd location in North Liberty in August of 2018. In addition, he remains active as adjacent faculty at the University of Iowa Physical Therapy doctorate program and is active in clinical research and project design. Ted lives in Cedar Rapids with his 4 children, 2 dogs, and his wife, Sarah. He's passionate about the development of healthcare and continuum and is in the improvement of health across a lifetime.
Okay, next we have Carl, and Carl was a West High grad of 2014. While he was at West, he was involved in tennis and show choir. He went on to attend Wheaton College in Illinois, and now he works as an internal wholesaler for PT Asset Management in Chicago, Illinois. So what they do is they own a mutual fund, which is a collection of investment vehicles, in their case, bonds. And what Carl does is he goes and he tries to convince financial advisors to recommend this mutual fund to their clients. So he's going to know a lot about finance and business and investing and that kind of stuff. I'm also going to introduce Hannah, who is a 2012 alum. She played piano and keyboard for concerts and musicals and also got up on stage for some performances. She has a love for foreign languages, which actually led her to an internship with China Daily in Beijing while she was at the University of Iowa. She's now the weekend anchor at KCAU 9 News in Sioux City, Iowa. So she still spends her time enjoying foreign languages, reading, and biking.
Next up, we have Mike. Mike graduated from West in 2012 and studied engineering at Iowa, and he's now an engineer at SpaceX in Cape Canaveral, Florida. I said that totally wrong. And then we're going to add Akash into here. I think I said that right. I hope I did. He's an electrical design engineer at Tesla. He currently lives in the San Francisco Bay Area. He graduated from West in 2015 where he was involved in cross-country student government in 1440. He went to Northwestern University for college, where he studied computer engineering and mechanical engineering.
Okay, we're now going to go in the same order, and we're going to have our guests share a little wisdom about what they would tell their high school self.
Alyssa, I want to follow your order, so I'm up first, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, everyone, I'm Abigail. Unfortunately, I'm going to be a little bit of broken record from last night. So I have 2 pieces of advice as I reflect on this. And the first one is all about staying curious and keep trying new things. I say this, like, things that are safely outside your comfort zone, but you never know where they're going to lead you. I think I've learned that versatility is the most valuable asset, professionally and personally in my life. And COVID has definitely doubled down on that. But mostly, doing things that you've never done before, whether it be showing up to a club or eventually, going to a party, do it. I had the opportunity, you heard in my bio, to live abroad for a while. And somebody once told me, even if somebody invites you to an envelope opening party, which is a joke, it's a metaphor, obviously, you should go, because you never know where it's going to lead. And I think that that advice led to me having a husband and many other really wonderful professional pursuits and connections. So that exposure, that exploration is so enriching and fulfilling. And like I said last night, I guess the worst thing that'll happen is that you'll figure out faster what you don't want to do when you try something new. So the best thing can be that you'll find something that inspires you or that you're good at, that's going to build your confidence along the way. Or if nothing else, it's going to round you out, because again, versatility is so important. So I would say keep trying new things, be curious, and just continue to push yourself, because it's so easy to get pigeonholed at a young or relatively young age, and you never know unless you try. It's pretty cliche, but it's true. And the second piece of advice is to keep perspective. Certainly, I had a lot of really ill-formed ideas in high school about what mattered or who mattered. And while high school can be an incredible springboard for your life, it can be a great foundation for many wonderful things, talent, skills, et cetera, you want to explore. It's also a very short chapter in what I hope will be a long novel of your life. So take the good, learn from the bad, and just keep it moving. Continue to evolve, because high school doesn't define you, but it can help shape you. And there's so much more life to give. So just keep doing what you want to do. Sorry, that was really long.
It was great though, Abigail. So I'm Jenny again, and I'm going to kind of go again from last night, because I rethought about this. I know this still matters to me, for the fact of, I really encourage you to learn and own your strengths and your weaknesses and work on both of them. I think so often when it comes to weaknesses, right, we either don't want to look at them, or we don't want to acknowledge them, or we try to hide them, instead of saying, okay, for me, I know that I don't like tough conversations. I'm a future business owner. I'm a manager right now. So if an employee needs like a tough conversation from me, I'm not as good at that. I don't like those. So I shy away from them. It is a weakness. I have to work on it. I have to work on it. If I'm going to be a good leader and manager, that's something that's imperative for me to do. So instead of whatever you go off to do, be like, man, I know I'm not great at this, so I'm going to work on it. I'm not going to try to hide it. I'm going to find people to help me get better at this, and find what are you good at? And it's okay to say, man, I'm okay at this. I'm good at this. And I would encourage you to hopefully find something that you love to do that you're good at, because man, it's a lot more fun to do something you're good at. I mean, that doesn't mean you're going to have things in life that you don't have to do, even though you're good at them or not good at them. But I would just really encourage you to look at both and work at both. Too often, I think, hey, we find something we're good at, we're just going to work at that and ignore the weaknesses. But then when you find the weaknesses, man, go humble. Just go humble. People that are teachable, like in work and in life, right? Those are the people you want to be with. I mean, for me, I want to be with people that are humble and teachable, that say, hey, I know I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to give you every ounce of effort I have. So that would be my advice to my high school self.
All right, I guess I'm up next. I'm gonna change the game. I was here last night, and I'm gonna take advantage of being able to answer twice. So I think my answer tonight for my advice for my high school self is to not be afraid of the things that you want out of life. And I think I did realize that, like, as I got older, but during high school, I was sounds weird, but I was a very fearful person. And I kind of did things that, weren't necessarily the things that I wanted to do, but were the things that I thought other people wanted me to do. And I learned later on that if you believe in something, especially today, if you believe in something and you think it can be a possibility for your life, then more than likely it can. And the interesting thing is, you know, no one really knows this about me, but my mom always told me to get, you know, to finish school so I could go get a real job. If you guys don't know me, I'm a trainer and I have my own training facility. And even when I started this, my mom's like, you need to finish school so you can go get a real job. And I'm like, this is that, Mom. This is that job. And so, you know, I believed in this for myself since I was 14, but it was the one thing that I had like in my scope of focus that was like, that's the thing that I want to do. And I'm not even going to look at these other possibilities because this is something I see as being realistic for me. And at the same time, it's something I think I can grasp a hold of. But at the same time, you know, I had all these different things being thrown at me that said, no, you need to go to school and you need to, you know, go get an engineering degree or go get something that we traditionally see as the way. And I think that you don't have to be afraid of maybe branching out from the way. And I think that's what I would tell my, you know, high school self is like, listen, there isn't just one way. There's a ton of them. And just because so-and-so says this is the way, just like the Mandalorians, that's not necessarily always true. So just kind of look and see the things that you want to do in life, if there's a possibility for them ever happening, and not necessarily giving up on that.
Okay, I think I'm up. My advice to my high school self would be to not be afraid to admit when you don't know something or when you're wrong about something. I think it sometimes can be very challenging to admit that. At least it was for me, still is for me. And yeah, it's like definitely puts you in a vulnerable position. But I think it's like an important skill to have, and something I didn't really realize was like okay to do or a good thing to do until like, I don't know, too late.
You know, I'm going to build off of maybe two things. One, what Abby said, and maybe building off of an element of what Tony said. High school is a chapter in this novel, right? And perspective, I think, after you leave high school is really interesting, because if I had to do it all over again, I would have taken a lot more risk. Because when you learn from those risks, you know, that's, I think, when we grow the most. But in high school, it feels like, you know, that's risky. And it just so happens that as you get older, high school is one of the most risk-free times in your life. And so you don't necessarily get that perspective till later, but I would have taken a lot more risk and really understood what I was really good at and what I, you know, wasn't so good at. And that maybe takes you to what Tony said, which is that there's probably a few things that you could do, or a handful of things that you could do. And one of the great things about a great education at a place like West High in a great town like Iowa City is you can probably do a lot of different things throughout your life, change it up, and all of that will be relatively risk-free if you think about it with perspective of those that don't necessarily have the opportunities that we have. So I just say take lots of risks, try things, and know that you'll have, you know, lots of shots on goal, and so it's okay if it doesn't work out.
Love it. Mr. Breitbach, based on all this great knowledge I'm getting, I kind of want one of these blue backgrounds too. I feel like I'm one of the big dreamers now. I have one thing to say before I answer the question, and that's that I want to embarrass my little brother on the call, just in case nobody knew. I sent him the link like before the call. His name is Al Halim Adams. He's not showing his video. Lame. Anyway, I think the advice I would give my high school self, and it's honestly building on some of the things that have been said here too, is really this concept of, I think growing up in Iowa City, maybe specifically, but maybe this is more of just a larger cultural theme, is this concept of pursuing your passion. Everywhere you go when you're a junior or senior in high school, everyone's telling you just find your passion and go and major in that, and you're going to be happy. But from my perspective, I never knew my passion. We had learned, 1% of the world by my senior year. And so one of the big things that I think has shaped where I'm at today is this concept of really just pursuing interests. I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering, and as of today, my day job is literally zero mechanical engineering. But outside of school, I was able to say, hey, I'm interested in technology and the energy space, et cetera. And those interests really shape where I'm at today. And so I really think, Tony's a testament to that too, where your interests really can lead to where you end up. And if you pursue your interest, it might not turn into the degree that you end up with, but it can turn into you kind of living a more fruitful life. So that's what I would tell my high school self.
I would agree that the whole process, going back to my high school self, first off, I should also say thanks for allowing me to be part of this, Mr. Breitbach, because I'm the honorary one on the crew tonight, and I feel like I've already learned a ton. But the biggest aspect is don't be afraid to fail. I know as a high school student, I was constantly afraid of making the wrong move, not choosing, again, coming into college, not choosing the right career path or the right degree or whatever it might be. And, right out of the boat, I went to St. John's University and loved the campus. It was beautiful, but it wasn't the right fit for me. And, I was fortunate enough to have a full ride there, and it was the hardest decision to leave that, but it ended up being the best decision. And I think sometimes we think our paths are going to be very clean and clear. And the reality is we're all on different trajectories. And I think in high school, a lot of times we're a little bit in, I don't know, maybe that sheep mode where we're all going to classes the same. We're all doing things kind of the same. We tend to dress maybe sometimes the same, not everybody. But what happens is you start to recognize that it's good to have differences. And I would tell my high school self just that don't be afraid of stretching yourself. Don't be afraid to take an opportunity that's different. And I loved earlier what I think it was Maggie that was talking about vulnerability. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in my years of becoming an entrepreneur and doing different aspects is don't be afraid to show your vulnerable self, and don't be afraid to say, I don't have all the answers, because that's part of your growth, the growth for yourself in the long term anyway. So.
Carl, do you want to speak on some advice you give? All right.
Absolutely. I was about to say, am I up yet? All right. Well, yeah, just thinking about this. I mean, I think I hear a lot. Ted says vulnerability. I think I've heard a number of times people say the word fear. And so I think that's a common theme. And I think just among all the people here who are alums of West High, everyone faces fears. And I think everyone here has worries and things that keep them up at night at times at some point in their life. And so I would just say, coming from that, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask someone to be a mentor or to give you some kind of knowledge that you seek, whatever it is. If it's something exercise related, if it's something on the investment side, the US, I mean, people tend to not know their finances and have those in order. They don't understand how retirement accounts work. They don't understand all this stuff that can be a little bit intimidating at times. And so it takes vulnerability. And so really, I just regret at the time in high school and even in college early on that I didn't learn right away that when you ask for help, you're giving that person a compliment. You're saying, you are a successful person. You have some things going for you. And I really look at that and I aspire to that. And so you're really just giving a really cool compliment and saying, please help me. be a blessing for me. And so I'm here today, and I just feel like being asked to be here by Mr. Breitbach. I mean, it's a blessing for me. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel valuable. So, you're building connections with people, and you're helping people feel like they're important, and what they have matters. And so, don't be afraid, because you're really doing a good thing for them as well. And honestly, I mean, I've been on both sides of it, where I've been mentored and I've also mentored. And I've taken things away both times. It's just interesting. I mean, there's sometimes revelations that come from when someone who's younger, maybe a freshman in college or someone in high school, says, "Carl, what advice do you have?" And I go, "Well, I never really thought of the question that way." And I come to a new realization. So, yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. You can help others just by making that effort.
Yeah, I got to piggyback off of a lot of these great mentors here. So what I would tell my high school self, I think there's such a pressure in modern day society to be perfect in almost every aspect of living: how you look, how you talk, what you look like, how you dress. And I would tell myself, again, what many other people have said: don't be afraid to fail or look silly or even look stupid. Do not become your own worst enemy. Because at the end of the day, no matter how hard you try, there are always going to be people that love you and always going to be people that don't necessarily love you. But you know what? Authenticity is so important. Just be yourself. And when you guys get to college, like when I was in college, I was really afraid to do certain activities at first because I wasn't really as good, even though they were things I were interested in and I really liked. When you guys get to college, go for the things that interest you. Go for the things that pique your interest. And even if you suck at first, don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, you don't have to be perfect. That shouldn't be the end goal. It's not about seeking perfection, because nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. So give yourself a little more love. Allow yourself to learn from those failures and not keep harping on yourself for the failures that you make, because failure in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's when you don't learn from failures that it can become a problem. And I think my high school self, whenever I didn't see myself as perfect in any given situation, I would really get down on myself and be like, oh, I should have done this better. I should have done that better, or I should have said it this way or that way. And so just getting over that fear of failure, and it's a lot easier said than done. And it takes a lot of time, but there will be people. First of all, when you get to college, do the things that you love, study the things that you love, work hard, but do the things that you love. I mean, there's a great saying that if you do what you love, it's not even like you work a day in your life. Go for the things that you love, because when people see who you are, your authentic self, not this perfect or person who feels that they have to impress everybody or that they can't step on anyone's toes, or because I know when I was in college, I was so afraid, like, oh, how do I come across? Did I say the right thing? Did I hurt their feelings? Just forget that. I mean, do the things that you love. And when people see who you are in your flawed but beautiful self, I mean, people will see and respect your value and what you can bring to the table. So I would tell sorry, I'm going a little long here, but I would tell my younger self, don't be afraid to fail. Learn from your failures. You don't have to be perfect, but try your best and work hard.
Hey everyone. I mean, I think one thing I would tell my younger self would be to just kind of worry less. And I think most people have already said this a few times, but everything's basically going to be fine, especially if you try hard and do your best. And might as well not worry about it, because most likely it's all going to be fine, and you're just torturing yourself if you sit around and worry all the time, which, like Hannah, you just said this, it's much easier said than done, but try not to worry too much. And if you work hard and do your best, you'll probably be just fine. So, yeah.
I think I'm up. I just want to say I had a cool opportunity. I missed yesterday and I was a little late today, but I really liked this event. Love the idea. Wish it was there however many years ago I was in high school. Lots of familiar faces as well. And look at them, what a great year. Didn't recognize you. There's been a lot of great advice so far, so the only thing I would say to my high school self is, you know, if you choose to go to college, college is coming up, and you don't like how high school went, you get to completely reinvent yourself in college if you want. Maybe you love high school, maybe it went great, and you can invent yourself as the same person for 4 more years. So I think that's really important. Is you have the opportunity to change that, or keep it the same. Maybe you loved it. The other thing is I would try to branch out more, and just explore while you're young, because people said earlier this is a risk-free time in your life. There's so much of the world that I didn't know in high school or in Iowa City, or at the age of 18, that you I just didn't know existed when I was 18. So if I followed my passion in high school, I probably would have been an ice cream taster in real life. So just explore while you have the freedom, because you have a lot of freedom right now. And finally, I would learn how compound interest works in high school. Start saving now, you would be crazy impressed with how much money you could make when you're in like your 20s. Those are my 3 pieces that I would tell myself at 18.
Akash, I think Tesla helps with compound interest too, I'm guessing.
Well, thank you guys for sharing that. Now we're going to hop into breakout rooms. Students who've just been kind of randomly assigned to 2 to 3 alumni, and then our MCs will be in there to ask some questions, and then you guys can ask some questions, and we'll do breakout rooms until 8 and then come back to the main room. So I'm going to open these rooms up if we don't have any other questions.
The rest of you guys, I'm so sorry.
Does this help?
Yeah, totally gonna balance you out.
Gosh, I'm so behind the times. I really do apologize.
All good. All right, Alyssa, this is your show.
Oh yeah, okay. Hold on, I'm getting organized. So the first question is, if you guys could teach the world one concept, idea, or ideal, what would it be and why? So Hannah, if you want to start, and then Popcorn it, or yeah.
If I could teach the world one concept, this is, I swear, this was like the trickiest thing. I was mulling over it for God knows how long. Again, I think this idea of perfection, it's such a myth. I mean, I don't know how early it starts. I mean, I feel like it's as young as elementary school nowadays, where there's such a pressure for a person to be perfect. And I know that, like what Abby was saying, high school is a formative part of your life, but hopefully it's just a small chapter in this grand novel that you guys are writing. So again, I would say striving for perfection could do more to harm than I believe help. I know when I first started anchoring, the first thing I noticed was all of my perceived imperfections. I thought, oh, I'm too big, or I sound kind of weird, because everybody, you know how like the theory goes that everyone hates the sound of their own voice. So when I heard my playbacks, I would be like, oh, I sound awful. Why would anyone want to listen to me or my voice? I don't sound like that normal or regular quote unquote anchor voice. And I got into my own head, and that I think did so much more damage. So when I learned to just relax, because it's okay if people don't like me, because at the end of the day, there'll be people who don't for whatever reason, and there'll be people who do for whatever reason. And 99% of the time, it's not really for a good reason. But I get to do what I love. And that's what's important. I get to do what I love. I care about what I love, and I'm with the people that I do it with. So I would say don't necessarily strive for perfection. That doesn't mean don't work hard. I want to be very clear about that. Work hard at whatever you choose to do in your life, but don't harp on yourself for not being this quote unquote perfect being, because I mean, there will always be people who are more talented and there will always be people who are less talented. But from my experience, it's the people who kept going, who didn't get inside their own head to the point where they burned themselves out, who allowed themselves to be more open-minded, not striving for perfection, but for being authentic. So I guess that's, I'm still going with that theme. Perfection is a myth. Don't strive for perfection. Just be yourself. Love, and I know that sounds so corny and so cheesy, but I think there is meaning in saying love yourself and strive to just be you, because there will be people who love you for who you are in your field or industry of choice. Don't give up on yourself. And I know that sounds corny, but I still hold on to those words in my heart. That's what I would try to teach the world. And oh yeah, sorry. Let's go over to Suraj.
Thank you. I would say the thing that I would try and impact is sustainability. So I work in the food industry, and when I started working, it wasn't even a thing that was discussed in college or high school. And if you think about now, 20 years later into the workforce, one of the big things that we think about at work is like, how do you feed a planet in 2050 that's going to have 10 billion people and do it, responsibly? And as I've just delved into that as a topic, it just applies to so many aspects of day-to-day life, right? Like, do we use things in a mindful way? Are we using things in abundance? And that kind of thinking was just not something that I grew up with. And it should have been, but it wasn't. And as I've thought about it more and more, like, it impacts, I think, so much of what the workforce is going to be about in the future. And so for me, I would just say sustainability and responsibly doing whatever you choose to engage in. So for me, that's food, and it means like growing plants and vegetables and animals, more effectively and efficiently. You could do that using technology, and it's crazy to think like the same technology that's in a Tesla could be applied to farming, right? And that transferability of like tech is something that's just top of mind for me. So that would be one thing that I would leave the world. The other thing maybe just is integrity and values. Like, I think who you are should drive what you do, and that can be different, and it should be different for everyone, but it really didn't sink in for me until very late in life that I can be who I am at my workplace, and if you do a good job of it, like, people will follow you, and that will resonate with people, or you will find people that you resonate with, and it creates a community in a sense that I didn't necessarily appreciate when I was younger. Tony, how are you?
I think my concept is a little bit, it's interesting because it goes on to a couple deeper levels of thought here. And my concept is to ask more questions. And I think this can be applied in many, many different realms of our beings as humans. But I think by asking more questions, you get a better understanding of not only the information you're presented, but as well as the other shoe. You may have a perception, and someone else may see that perception very differently than you do, because of where they're at in life, because of where they're at in morals or their upbringing or their finances or whatever that may be, right? And I think what happens when you ask questions is you get a better understanding, you get a better empathetic viewpoint, and you can come to a conclusion a lot faster. And you can have a better understanding without butting heads and without a disconnect, and we can live a little bit more in harmony because you have that understanding. So I said this last night too, and I love getting in political debates. Now, I know nothing about politics, and I know nothing about any of that sort of stuff and how, laws get passed and how they enact these things. I don't know anything about that, but I do know about humanity. And what I can do in political debates is ask more questions, right? And it can give me a better understanding of where people's beliefs are coming from. And with that happening, I can imagine myself on that side of the argument and be like, okay, I can see where you're coming from with that. I can understand that. And you know what? I can buy into that. I understand that where you came from, what you do in life, how that would be a thing that you feel strongly about. And I can get into these discussions with people and there be zero mood swings, zero inflammatory comments, because you have that understanding. And I think if we do that in life, we can also have that kind of harmony where we may be on opposing sides of something, of whatever discussion, debate, topic, and we may be on the opposing sides, but there's such a cool, calm conversation happening that we both end that conversation seeing each other's sides and having a little bit more understanding of life from not your own perspective. And on the other side of it, if you ask more questions, you get more of the information, you know more of what you're doing. So in my industry, if I were to say, oh, I like exercise, I'm great at it, story's done, right? My career would be done as well, right? But instead, I ask more questions, I seek more information about the latest scientific research, about the latest studies of supplements in the nutrition side of things. And so I look for more information so I can better serve my consumer. I can better serve the people that are looking to me for help. And that has to do with asking more questions, right? Getting more information. And I think that's my concept that I'd like to get the world to know.
Well, speaking on asking questions, Caroline, Hannah, do you guys have any questions you want to ask? I mean, I have a ton of questions, random questions I can ask, but hopefully one of you will speak up.
Oh yeah. I was kind of wondering, just kind of a broad question, I guess. Anyone can be answer this, but I know it was mentioned finding your passion, your interests, was mentioned in the main session, but when was the time when you kind of found your passion and when you realized oh, this is what I really want to do in the future?
So I guess I'll go first. For me, it was in college. I had inklings. I'd never really had an aha kind of a moment. But I did a lot of theater in college, and I loved the performance aspect. I loved the community aspect. But for me, it was more like a series of little events. I loved writing, I loved reading, and I loved that sense of community I got from theater. So I guess it was just a string of things. For me, it was actually a class. I think that if I had to think of one big thing, I took a media history and culture class, and I became obsessed. I was so fascinated with how media has changed, specifically in the US from 1776 until the modern day. It was just such a fascinating world, and how with the introduction of social media into the mix, how that also plays a part, not just on the role of the journalist, but also the role of the consumer. So for me, that was kind of a springboard into really pursuing journalism. So I guess if I had to choose one, I don't think that was like a big like aha, now I know I'll definitely go into it, but that was the thing I feel that really got the gears grinding, if that makes sense. And then I didn't stop moving, and now I'm here.
Okay, just to jump in here, where did you go to college?
I went to the University of Iowa. I got accepted into the School of Journalism and Mass Communications my sophomore year. Because for the U of I, and this is pretty common for a lot of places, you have to fill out an application and be accepted into journalism programs and whatnot. That's pretty common. Still nerve-wracking at the time. I thought, oh, I hope I'm good enough to get in, but I did. I had some excellent teachers at the University of Iowa who, I mean, at the time it was hard. I look back and I go, oh, that was the easiest thing ever. Because now the final that we had, I mean, I do that every single day for my job. So it's like, it's a walk in the park now, but back then it was just the biggest thing. But yeah, I went to the University of Iowa. Go Hawks.
I'm glad to say like that you liked it. All three of us are actually journalists, and I actually accepted my admission to the university to study journalism. So I'll be going there in the fall.
Congratulations. Awesome.
Good for you.
That's great. Well, what specifically, is there like a field, is there newspaper, broadcast, magazine, or where do you think your path is heading so far?
Photojournalism, sports. Hopefully we will see what happens. Yeah.
Would you want to be a sportscaster?
I don't know. Hannah can definitely tell you, and probably Caroline, I'm horrible at knowing what's going on in the sports. You know, I just like can take the pictures very well. I can't caption them. I make Hannah do all my captioning and all my work. She literally does it all behind the scenes. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like seeing myself like on camera or hearing my voice. Again, that perfection thing that you were talking about. I am a perfectionist. So I don't know if I could do it. I would have to get over that, but.
Well, and that's the thing. It's a journey. I mean, it took a solid 2 years when I first started to get over that initial hump, because especially I feel for women, not just sportscasters, but newscasters in general. I mean, you get critiqued by people who view any of our newscasts for everything. And I know when I first started, that was really hard, which I think is why I'm such an advocate for not striving for perfection, but for hard work and authenticity. Because I mean, I got criticized for my hair, my weight, my voice, my makeup, the fact that I wore purple one day. I mean, I'm telling you, like the actual criticisms that I could use, like for example, like I might have gotten a fact wrong or a name wrong, or I might want to look into like this aspect of a story. Those kinds of comments are few and far between. I mean, there are a lot of just hateful people out there in news, and that's something that you kind of accept. And now if I get, a hateful email or comment, I just brush it off. I mean, because especially in this industry, you don't know until you really get in what it's like and the grind that it takes. And I will say for sports, I love our weekend sports anchor. Jacob Russo is amazing. He's a sports anchor for the ages. I mean, he's so passionate, but I will say sports lingo is a thing. I mean, he'll go through his entire rundown and I'll be like, what did he say? I have no idea. All of like for the tray, which means like a triple, and I'm sitting there going, yep, that thing. So it is a thing, but I know that don't beat yourself up already. See, that's kind of what I mean. Like, just give yourself time if that's what you want to do. And don't get me wrong, there's so many different like paths that you can take in journalism, but that's exciting for you. I'm excited for you.
Do you want to do another question, or do you want Tony and I to answer that one too?
I just want you guys to talk, like talk about yourself, give us some good advice, I guess. Last night I was the only person in my breakout room with Abigail, Miss Head, and the other Alyssa. And so they just like pelted me with advice about college and everything. So I'm trying to like pass it on to you guys, I have like some other
Yeah.
questions, like what are your big dreams now, you know, and how did you like really focus in on getting to where you are and stuff, if you wanted to like kind of.
The other Alyssa is my sister, so I
Yeah,
know
her baby is really cute. She's
a
really,
lot.
her baby is so cute. It's so cute. But yeah, she talked a lot, so I would like to hear from you now.
I am not quite as big a talker as she is, but I don't even remember what the original question was.
The original question was if you could teach the world one idea or
No, we went through that,
We
right?
already did that. I think you were saying what was Hannah's question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she asked what advice we'd have in terms of conveying actually no, I forgot it too.
What was the question, Hannah?
You asked the question again, Hannah.
Oh yeah. I think I just like asked like when was the time like when you really found your passion or interest like or when you really wanted to like when you knew what you wanted to do like in the future.
I don't know that I ever did really, and I don't know that I still have. So and it maybe goes to what Tony said, but with a different variation. Like he knew specifically what he wanted to do, and maybe was fighting the advice around him that wasn't a real career. And I was kind of the other way around. You know, I grew up in a house where you either had like in an Asian family, you either had to be a doctor or an engineer. And if you weren't one of those two things, then everything else was just a whole bunch of questions in the house. And so as a net result, even though I didn't innately want to be an engineer, I went to school for engineering. But I really quickly realized from a career perspective, that's not what I was passionate about. And so I quickly maybe transferred what I enjoyed into the work. And so I just wanted to make an impact and feel like I had, you know, I was serving a purpose. So if every day I went in and felt like I was teaching somebody something, or that I was, you know, learning and moving the ball forward, so to speak, it was good enough. And that led to me realizing that early in my career, if you built expertise around something, then people would come to you for things. And so you started to build kind of capabilities that people saw you as the expert for. And then that would lead to them giving you more opportunities, and kind of just, you know, it snowballs from there. And I realized as a net result that I was good at leadership and management. And so today I get to lead a really large global team, and it's fascinating to me how some of like the things that are a part of Western education just aren't how the rest of the world operates, right? So I get to travel to Brazil a lot. And in Brazil, like if a manager or a leader says something, people just do it. Like they don't ask any questions. And so, you know, you could be completely going in the wrong direction, but because the boss said so, that's what everybody does. And so we tried to instill, and maybe it just goes to what Tony said, we instill asking a lot of questions in our employees. So they're challenging conversation so that you arrive at a better solution than just going and doing what the boss says, right? And so I've found purpose as a leader in trying to give that perspective globally to all of our locations around the world, because in Asia and in Latin America, the predominant like culture is hierarchy. And so top down, whatever the boss says is what goes. And that's not how you get like creativity and the best ideas and stuff. So anyway, long-winded answer to say that I thought I needed to do one thing, but I've found that I'm better at other things, I guess.
I guess for me, I mean, I knew at 14 that this is what I wanted to do. That sounds really, really odd, but once I found out that you could actually get paid to have people exercise, I was like, yo, I love this stuff. Sure. but then I realized, like, if I wanted to get paid, I would have to be better at this, right? Just liking something and just having a passion for it and really enjoying that thing doesn't necessarily solve all your problems, right? Now you have to get educated on your passion, because you may have something that you think is a passion of yours and it's really just a hobby. And in order to make that passion a realization in a business or something like that, you actually probably have to get good at that thing, right? And that takes some work, and that takes some education, and that takes some learning. And so developing a skill in that industry or in that passion you have is one of the things that was a kind of an abrupt message for me, because when I didn't know how to deal with people who've had, reconstructive ACL surgery, or, who have chronic lower back pain or a torn labrum in their hip, when I didn't know those things, I was like, what I'm doing might be really unsafe for this person. And so now I've got a whole new skill set I have to develop for different modalities of injury, right? So now this person wants to lose weight, but they can't put pressure on this right leg. Or now this person, wants to go on a hike, but they have chronic lower back issues that 10 minutes into a hike, they're done. Or this person wants to get in shape for their wedding, and they haven't worked out in 12 years. So you have to start to get educated on that passion. It's a never-ending pursuit. And even though I knew that I wanted to do it at 14, I'm still learning now, 28 years later, right? It sounds very odd, but I'm going through 3 courses right now, right? Which you would think I'd be done with that education, but it's an ever evolving game. And if I want to continue to up-level my skill set and be one of those people who has a specialization or something that I'm really good at, like Shiraj said, and I'm in demand for something, I have to continue learning these things, right? Because every year there's a whole batch of new people that want the same job that I have, right? And so I have to differentiate myself from that new batch and from the people that came before them and the people that are before them. And so it's a never-ending pursuit of learning for me that still drives my passion that I've had since I was 14. Oh my God, you see something crazy over there?
No, my dad, he always interrupts me when I'm in meetings.
Yeah, so for me, I knew that I wanted to do this when I was young, but at the same time, I didn't know what all came with this package. Like it was an awakening where I was like, whoa, I just opened a whole new world. I thought it was just going to be me exercising with people and it was going to be fun. And it is. I mean, I would choose to do nothing else, right? But at the same time, there is so much more of a world within the world that you love. And that was an eye-opener for me.
Thank you. Caroline, I actually want to put you on the spot here. What are you planning on doing in college? Where are you going? I don't know if I've stalked your socials enough to know yet. I mean, I know we're neighbors. I should probably know this, but.
Yeah, so I'm kind of still in the process of deciding where I want to go. I have a couple decisions and stuff coming back from schools in March, so I'm just waiting on that. And then for majors and stuff, I'm not 100% set. I think maybe some communications, international studies, and then maybe some psych would be cool. And then I'm also planning on playing college tennis, which I think the recruiting process in a COVID environment has been really interesting, kind of different than what I was expecting on going into. But yeah, I'm definitely excited on committing to a school soon.
Sweet. Good luck. Good luck.
Thanks.
Too. It's got
That's awesome.
And I also applied to Iowa like Alyssa, but I'm not going into journalism. I got into communications school, but maybe some journalism would be cool too.
Iowa. We say it is so negative, since we grew up in Iowa City. And that's what Alyssa, the other Alyssa, was telling me yesterday, was like, just because it is like the University of Iowa, we grew up here. It's like a really great school and you can make it whatever you want to make it. So
listen, you guys don't realize this now because you're still there, but the fact, and you guys can probably agree with me, being in other parts of the country, you don't realize like how good you have it in terms of education and being able to do whatever it is that you want, right? I live in Las Vegas right now, and it's one of the worst school systems in the nation, right? And I was talking to Alyssa last night. We got off the meeting and I FaceTimed her, and we were talking about like how like this doesn't happen in other places. The opportunity for you guys to see alumni that have gone on to be successful and actually like communicate with them and get advice from them. This is not a thing that like is normal. So I just want you guys to realize that like 10 years from now, you're going to be like, wow, I am really blessed to grow up where I grew up. And it seems silly to tell you that right now, right? It seems silly to tell you that right now, but trust us when we say like you are living a life that a lot of other kids do not get to even come close to like smelling, tasting, or touching, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I've been to like 44 countries, and when I get home to my parents still live in Iowa City, and all of my friends' parents have left or moved, and so it's different for me when I get back to Iowa City. But every time I get back, there's a whole bunch of things about Iowa City that you appreciate, right? A really good school system, a great college in that same city. It's not a crazy big city, but it's not teeny tiny either. So it's got, this balance. But I totally agree with what Tony said. I think that we take a lot for granted when certainly I did when I was there, but you appreciate it more once you leave. So Iowa City wouldn't be the worst thing, I guess, is what we're saying, Caroline, if you ended up there.
Oh, I
No,
100.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. I mean, definitely for me, I wanted the opportunity to play like Division One. I'm not good enough to play at Iowa, but I think if I end up going to Iowa, I think there is a lot of people discount Iowa because we've grown up in Iowa City and it's the state school, but we've all had so many amazing opportunities through the university. Like I know, Alyssa, we did that STEM thing one time through the university. That was a really good opportunity. And then getting to have, opportunities through athletics too, getting to like do stuff with like the teams and stuff has been really beneficial too. So I definitely, I think, echo what everyone else said about like the opportunities within the Iowa City area.
Caroline, don't say you're not good enough for D1 tennis.
No, you don't
are.
know.
You are.
Division One, dude, you don't know. No, no. Division One tennis is a whole nother level. I can't compete with the international competition.
Okay, well, I think I'm supposed to like close breakout rooms now. So any last like things before we kind of go back to the main room? Because I'm getting lots of texts saying that I was supposed to close them 10 minutes ago.
Thanks for all the advice and your just advice on everything with your time at West and everything you've done after that. It's been really helpful.
Yeah, of course. Maybe I just leave with one comment, Alyssa, for you as one of the organizers. I think all of us would be more than happy to connect with anyone that's got questions or needs a connection given what we do for careers or in the cities that we live. So feel free to tap into the network, because that's another thing.
Oh yeah, we're working on it right now. All of our organizers, me, Alex, and Fariha, we're all seniors, so we have the whole college process going on, but we want to send out, this is the second launch thing we've done. We had some other speakers in November.
Yep.
We want to send out all of your guys's bios and what you do as a job with your emails so that students can get in contact. And then we're thinking of in March doing some kind of career nights where we do a medical night where we have people in the medical field, or a journalism thing where people in the journalism field, engineering, big topics that students would want, because right now we're having a hard time getting the word out to students that we're a thing, because once they come back. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah.
And then Paige, she has a podcast, and it's through our journalism program at West. It's called Life After a Trojan. So she might reach out to you guys and do an interview to put up just like that. But yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
Alyssa, thank you so much for everything. Thanks for having all of us.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. I
Been
think
lovely.
there we go. I figured it out. All right, we'll see you back in the main room. Thank you.
Sounds good. See ya.
Awesome.
Good.
Is this just the same room?
No, other people are probably still in the conversation.
Hey, what's up, guys?
32 seconds before they get booted back in here automatically.
No, but this is great. Like I was talking to my sister last night. This is just, again, I don't think you'll know like how awesome this is for you until like you're done and over with it, and you get to like look back on this. You know.
I agree.
I'm just wondering how many conversations got cut off.
Sorry, guys. I know we're running a little bit late. I can put you guys back into breakout rooms if you want, but I wanted to give people a chance to go if they need to without being like super awkward. So we just wanted to thank you guys all for coming, alumni, students. Like, it really means a lot to us, alumni, that you were able to be here and talk with us. And students, thank you for joining us. We're going to have some more events like this, and we'll be in contact via email with some information about our alumni in case you wanted to keep in contact with them. Otherwise, if no one has anything else to say, you guys are free to go. You're free to stick around and just chat. But yeah.
One final note. Please, everybody, reach out to each other and stay connected. There's a wealth of talented people and people that can connect you with other people, and alumni. If you know other people, which I'm sure you do, that want to get involved with this, send them my way. We want to keep this going and growing. So again, thank you for everybody for joining us. This is, at least from my perspective, each time we do this, it gets better. You know, and we learn more, and just, you know, how to better organize this thing, but it's just fun. You know, as to see what our alums are doing is rewarding for educators. I mean, I've been at Westside a long time, and we always have this vision that we do education right. And I think our alumni are always a good advertisement, you know, for what we do. But you know, and
he has been there since I was a child.
Well, Tony, I was telling our MCs before everybody got on, I've been at West High longer than they've been alive, just to put it into, I don't know what that means. But, well, in our younger days, I coached and taught TED at Cedar Rapids, LaSalle. So anyway.
Wow.
But Mr. Breitbach, this is a testament to you. I told my husband, today, I said, this is a gentleman that has been helping students for decades. Listen, that's not a, this is not.
Do you have to emphasize the decades?
I'm sorry, but
look at the fruits of your labor. People are showing up.
You have cared about us. And then I see Mr. Med on here who cared about me when I was horrible at playing my trombone. Good golly. And yet he was still kind to me. I mean, but truly there's the blessing that you guys have passed along, the care, we were cared for. All of us here, I think, would say, especially alumni, you cared well. Both of you cared well for students, you know, or we wouldn't give it a second look to come on here. That says a lot. That is, you know, those are gifts that are just being, you know, exercised to bless other people. And thank you for that.
I got to run.
Jenny.
Mr. Breitbach, thanks so much. And to Alyssa, Friha, and the student ambassadors, Alex and Paige and Miguel, you guys did an awesome job. Did I forget anyone? I hope not. But keep it up. I mean, this is great experience and exposure. A lot of the advice we give, you're already applying. I personally have to go, but definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to talk to those people, especially if you had a few specific industry questions. I take great pride in being a Trojan, so I'd love to help you out. Have a great night. Cheers.
Thanks, Abby. So that concludes our formal part. So if people want to stay around, have conversations, feel free to do that. This has been great, fun, and we'll keep this thing rolling and growing.
I got to go, but I was just going to say this has been fantastic for me to see alums. When I saw the list of names of people on the email that Paul sent out, I just wanted to stop in. I apparently the only other teacher, but I just wanted to stop in, and it's fantastic to hear what everybody's doing. And we've always take great pride in our students, and then to see them as adults and doing the amazing thing is just really, and this thing with the connection of our students, current students with the alumni is fantastic. That is just, it's fantastic. Why not? This is what's fun for sure. So this is cool.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Please feel free to share contact info with other students that are interested.
Yes, we are planning on sending out your bios and your emails to all the students that attended. And then this is just an idea I literally just had in my brain is we could do we have an Instagram, so we could kind of promote you guys on Instagram and see other students. We're trying to get more of an audience, more students to get involved. But Mr. Breitbach, anything? I recorded the whole thing, and I had each of us record our breakout rooms so we can do some social media promo. But
I have some ideas for you to get more people involved. Maybe I'll email them to you, but my sister and I were talking about it last night. And I was like, this should be a much bigger thing for you guys than it is. I think it's that important for students to understand, like the ones that are here are benefiting immensely from it, right? I mean, I've learned a ton from the other alumni in just 2 nights, and I think this is something that should be even louder than it is right now, and I just have some ideas that I maybe want to talk to you guys about, like how to get more people involved in this, and how to get it, Mr. Med was saying the same thing. He's the only teacher here. I'm like, what? I didn't know teachers were invited. I'm like, that's actually really cool to see him. I didn't have any classes with him, but at the same time, I'm like, whoa, that's Mr. Med, man. I remember that dude. And the ability for them to get in there just generates more and more kind of noise, like, oh, I'm going to log in and check that out. And I think that all of that stuff starts to get a compound effect. And a couple of teachers are saying, oh, I'm going to log in, I'm going to check this out. And then it becomes this big voice of interaction where people just maybe don't want to miss it. Again, I'm just fascinated with the social media side of things too. So I think.
No, that's great. We welcome all ideas. See, now you're part of the Big Dreamer family. And so all ideas are, all are welcome, and whatever we can do to continue to, connect people. And if we can take our young people at 15, 16, 17, 18 and get them thinking about and just understanding the connections and in our breakout room, Ted talked about, just the fact that connecting, we just need to do more as human beings to connect with each other and find it's pretty easy to find what we don't like about each other. But to find and I believe this to my core, that we are at our core, we're more alike than we are different. And maybe this becomes, this thing becomes this thing. We're big dreamers, because one of my big dreams is to help other schools do the same thing. Every school has alumni, and it's not real difficult. But anyway, that's we'll write a book.
Well, and I'd love to dovetail on that, because I think Tony's got a great idea. from the standpoint of, again, I really appreciate being invited. I am so impressed by the alumni of West. I mean, some of the students that are attending this, I hope that people recognize that some of the information you got tonight, when you're an adult, you'll have to pay $5,000 to attend a seminar to hear from people of this caliber and level. And what Tony said was really important, that having these teachers here and inviting them, they get to see the fruits of their labor. You know, so often I think teachers, you know, day after day, it can become difficult. And when you get an opportunity to attend something like this and see the fruits of their labor and see what you guys have done and what you're doing, it's incredible. But also for you students, increasing that network to other students, because to dovetail on what Mr. Breitbach said, we are most definitely more alike than we are different. And we all have struggles, and we all have challenges, and we all have things where we're concerns that are very similar. And so if we can start to break down some of those barriers and use leadership and big dreams to make that more of a platform, that's awesome. So thanks for inviting me. I also have to go. You've got my information. Please feel free to share. And thanks for the opportunity, guys.
Really quickly, I just want to say, I think I speak for all of the MCs when, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. This is an awesome experience for all the students and for me, just to learn from you guys. So thank you for coming. But to Tony and to all of the alumni, if you have ideas as to how we can make this bigger, we gladly welcome those. So reach out to us and we'll be in touch with some of you, I'm sure. So if you have those ideas, please send them our way. We really do appreciate that.
Hey, Miguel, maybe just quickly to build off of Tony's, thought, I too, right afterwards, started texting my West High, friends, and there's a whole bunch of alum that want to get involved. So to the extent that you guys can create like a Dropbox or something where we can just input people's emails that we have or numbers or what have you, then you can create like a distribution list to get it out to more alums. I know there's a bunch of people that want to get involved, and I just sent a little, I took a picture yesterday of a screenshot and I texted it to a bunch of people. And so if you want to just create a Dropbox, we could start filling out more emails and contact details.
Mr. Breitbach, do we have a Big Dreamers email?
I don't think we do.
Okay, I'll get on that. And then
Okay.
I'm so sorry, but I think I'm too young to like really know what Dropbox is or how to use it. So maybe Mr. Breitbach can help.
Ouch. Yeah,
I'm really sorry. I had to know.
I dropped the box. Hey, when I was carrying a box one time and I dropped it. Does that count? That's a drop. I dropped the box.
No, I had to actually. I applied for this scholarship and I had to like Dropbox my like PDFs into it, and I was so confused. I had to get my mom to help me. So we'll get on that. But I think that wasn't meant to be offensive. I wasn't trying to call you guys older.
Just share a file. That's all I'm saying. Just give us a file. Give us a spreadsheet.
I think if you could, I would get quotes like from Sriraj and Tony and, a few of the alumni. Have us give like 1 or 2 sentences of why this was meaningful. Because I feel like if you're sent out, like I really applied because replied, to be honest, because I know Mr. Breitbach and I have seen him recently and I trust him. So other than that though, if you're sending this out, but I'm like, oh man, if I read a quote from Tony or Sriraj saying, oh my goodness, those 2 nights on this were incredible and this is what it was, then I am more inclined as an alum to say, hey, I might check that out, right? So, and getting people from different ranges, right? That's marketing right there, right? How are you going to market this to alum if they don't know anything about it? So I would get some of those quotes, put it in some sort of cool format that you're like, ooh, bam, I'm going to read that. I'm going to read that. And I guarantee if you get a range of, years, right? Because there are some grads that are older or, whatever, like, hey, my brother was a 94 grad. Whoa, that's a long time ago. But, and he's a PT in Colorado, but has, worked on some Olympic athletes. That would be cool. But I'm like, hey, how do you promote something like that? It'd be fun, but there are different, ranges. So I just think that might help.
I
Yeah.
think
Just don't make all your friends mad they didn't get invited first. You guys are all gonna get me in trouble.
well, just to
Like
build
Terry,
on that.
Terry will probably never talk to me again, right, Tony?
Yeah,
I told him he's already shunned you.
Yeah, that was your bad, Brightbach. You knew you
Well-
couldn't buy 2 of the 3. Come on, that's what you
No, I'm gonna blame it on Ann Kylie.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good idea.
She's my. That's why a lot of you guys are here, because Ann's like, oh, you gotta. And then anyway, no, this is all good stuff.
To Jenny's point, though, Brightbach, I responded because you sent me a message, and I remembered in high school, a stressful day, I'd come to your office and just sit there and chill for a while, and I'm like, so like the connection with teachers too, I think could be really important here. Like each of us has somebody that made an impact for us while we were in high school, and so if you got more teachers like Mr. Med and others to also kind of cast a net, I think it would start to it's the network effect, right? Like on both sides, on the alum side and on the teacher side, you can start to grow this thing pretty quick, I think.
Well, and I think one of the reasons I talked about it was I talked to my sister, and it was funny that I mentioned this, and then tonight in our breakout room I had a tennis player. But a lot of the, obviously I'm speaking from a former athlete background, right? And I'm like, you know what? I didn't see any people that played sports on there, and I could be wrong, but I'm like, okay, so there's a whole subgroup of students that didn't attend this thing, right? There was no representation from that subgroup of students. I'm like, well, how do you get that subgroup of students or this subgroup of students or that one to be interested in this in the first place? And you have a group of alumni who are all very different backgrounds as well. I'm sure I saw a soccer player, tennis player, people that were in band, people that were in theater, and you have all of these different groups that you can draw students from. Like, oh, there's a former athlete that's coming to talk with us. There's a former band member that's coming to talk with us. There's someone who works at Tesla, right? So all of these things are very interesting for a student, right? I mean, I think one of you guys works at Tesla, right? If I'm, yeah. And I'm like, that's really cool. Emphasize that. And I think it will draw more interest from the student standpoint, because ultimately I love this. This has been awesome for me, but this ain't about me. It's about the students. It's about getting them to understand, like, hey, you know what? You can start on your dreams right now. Like, this has been 2 unexpectedly amazing nights for me, but I know this isn't about me. Like, it's not about fulfilling me. It's about fulfilling students. And I'm like, you know what? We need more students here. Like, this is so cool that I feel like students are missing out on what this experience is. And the fact that it can literally like elevate their life plan, like nothing, to be honest, that I could have done when I was 16. And I just think you got to play on that. Like you got to play on some of the attributes that you have going on in this thing. And I don't know how you can distribute that to, the different realms of the students. I don't know how that is yet, but I know that teachers are one of them, right? And the more teachers you have in here, the more their students are going to find out that this thing is going on. But that's just my thoughts, and I don't want to keep hogging this mic right now, but
it's okay. I'm actually recording this whole meeting, so I'm gonna take some of your quotes, so they're not gonna go to waste. But yeah, we were planning, I think, in March to do kind of more career nights, so we could get like the medical field, the sporting field. The sporting field, that doesn't sound right, but yeah, like different things where students can come and it's like all about them and what they want to do, and so that they can progress. But 4 out of 5 of us are journalists, so we really need to get on that, guys.
Also, like, you could probably try to get the kids who come, their parents involved, because a lot of their parents do cool stuff. And also, like, feel like if the people are reaching out to their parents, then they'd also feel more involved and maybe outreach to other students as well as a byproduct of that. It's an idea I had.
Mukundan, that's a great idea. And I actually wanted to just ask you, since You're the only student who's still with us, so thank you very much. What made you decide to come? So like if we can know why you came, maybe we can get other students to come, or what do you think would get students to come? Because I reached out to a bunch of my friends, and it was just you and one other friend who decided to actually come. So why?
Well, okay. Well, I was always seeing a lot of emails from Brightbox about this, but today was the first like day in a while felt like I had some free time. And then I saw the email from you, like I know you pretty well, so like so I don't want to say obligated, but I almost felt like you're a close friend, like I want to try this out. So like with all that combined, having a free day, like I just decided why not? Can't hurt, but it's great. So it turned out to be great. So yeah, that was pretty much my thought process. But having like someone like I know like reach out, like I think that like this is what really made me come today.
And thank you for that, Mukundan. But so was it worth it? Like, did you enjoy your time here? Would you recommend other students do this? Like, was it a good way to spend your time today?
Really put him on the spot here, Miguel.
No, I just want to get like honest feedback, because it's good to know if we can make improvements. We should. If we're doing well, we should know that too.
No, I really like it actually. I have to be honest, like normally this is the first time I've like done something like this, because usually like I'm like not very outreachy, if that makes sense. But it's not like, it's really nice to hear other people's perspectives. And I also think if we are going to do something like this, it's important to get more students in, because like if there's like, I feel like there has to be like less like the alumni to student ratio needs to be like less alumni, more students, or else like if we do stuff like this, if there's more alumni than students, it's going to be like I just feel like there's going to be a lot of alumni talking, and whereas like for me, I like the part better where it's like students themselves asking alumni questions. So like they'd be able to do that better if like there's like a couple alumni and then like more students in a breakout room and stuff like that. And then it's easier
you're
to ask
hired. You're
questions.
hired for our marketing and advertising committee. We can add you to our group chat. I think everybody will second that.
See you, Akash.
I love her. I love her. Thank you.
Yeah. Wait, Carl, are you still in town?
You know, I'm back and forth all the time. Oh, is that coming from me?
Yeah.
How about now?
There we go. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Yeah, I think I did something with the Zoom monitor I had open. Okay. No, I'm back and forth. Yeah, so I'm going back and forth between Chicago and Iowa City. I think one idea that might be good. Absolutely. I think one idea that might be good to consider is, I just know when I was going off to college, maybe it's really pitching this as helping students who are looking at post-grad, what do I do, and different ideas. And I know we had a couple speakers who it sounded like maybe they skipped college and went straight into entrepreneurship, but really thinking about like, what are some things that you can go and do with a degree or without a degree? Just because I know when I entered college, I was just like, wow, I could do anything. And so that was very intimidating. So I'd love to, if there was something maybe where alumni could come in and speak about that, that'd be pretty cool.
There's also a lot I really enjoy sharing with high school students, and for me, I do it with like community college students, like interview prep. I do a lot of that, like how to not tank your interview, things that like get yourself in trouble in the first 5 minutes. I do a lot of interviews, especially for young people, and I can give plenty of, people, those sort of stand out. So I feel like sometimes, especially you seniors, if you're going off or you're going to interview for an internship, and all of us, I'm sure could compile those, but I feel like those have been really beneficial at least for the people I've talked to, going, oh my goodness, I never thought about that. Or maybe my mom has told me that for 10 years, but I never really listened. Thank you for saying the same thing. But I do think those are like tips and tricks, right? Tips and tricks to make sure that your resume looks good. Tips and tricks for making sure that, what does it mean to be a good employee, a good student? What does that look like? Yes, West prepares you, but it's a whole different realm out there. And I'm sure any one of you here could say like, hey, if I would have known this going into my first job or my first class, even, what does it mean to be a good student, like in college, or just, yeah, as a human being? I don't know. I feel like there's some key aspects. And I feel like Tony, in our breakout last night, you hit on some of those when we talked about our businesses, but I think those can be beneficial for anybody, but for young people too. Anyway, thank you guys so much for having me again. Super honored to be here. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
Like kind of going off that, if like there's various things like how to do a good interview, or like just various questions like that. If you like ask the alumni that and then like put together their answers and like publicize that, like I think having like a tangible information, and then if people like get something out of that, they'd be more inclined to come.
Yeah, we literally have like a whole entire website and newspaper and that we could be using. Well, West Side Story, I mean, like 4 out of 5 of us literally are employed by the West Side Story. So we need to get on that, guys.
No,
you guys get paid?
No, we get paid
Said you're
in
employed.
knowledge and amazingness. And technically I get into all the sports games free. So that's like $1,000 right there because they're very expensive to get into. And I go to state for free. So yes.
I think Jenny brought up a great point that McCundon just added to, is that this we can like branch off and make Big Dreamers. It can be so many little things. Like we can have a Big Dreamers session for interview prep, a Big Dreamers session for how to make a good resume. But I also love these sessions that are just talk and connect with alumni. So it doesn't have to be so broad all the time. And I think having these broad meetings is excellent. It's great because it gives you like these different viewpoints, different perspectives. But I know I was talking to McCundon that we're looking at having a medical Big Dreamers alumni meeting, and he's interested in possibly going to med school. So we can have these like more focused things, but also these broader things, and really just make it a whole like spider web of different stuff that is all just connected to Big Dreamers at the base. So we can really just branch out more than we are, I think. And that might be good to Tony's point, to reach out to like the different subgroups of students.
Yeah, I don't want to be critical of that. I think that's a great idea. But at the same time, I think what you want to do is keep this broad so you can grow this like to be a thing where you've got, 250 students at this thing that we're doing right now. And then you can start to break it up into subgroups when you have that growth and that like popularity of like, oh, people come to this thing, right? People come to this thing to learn about these people and how to basically dream big. And then once you do that, then you can start to say, hey, this one's just for our medical people. This one's just for the people that are interested in business management, right? But right now, I think this product that you guys have right now is insanely cool. Like, and I don't think people understand how cool it is yet. And it's just a matter of getting people to experience it one time. McCundon, would you come back to something like this?
Yeah.
All right. And it took you coming to it that would give you that answer right now, right?
Yeah.
Had you not come to this, you wouldn't have been like, you'd be like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, right? But you came to it, and now you may get the, I don't know who were the alumni that were in your group. Do you remember?
Carl, Akash, and I think it might have been, I think it was Maggie. I'm trying to remember her name. I think it was Maggie, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
go ahead. Someone was talking. Carl.
We had the coolest person, or
Carl, you're coming out.
Breaking up right now.
Well,
Or
Yep.
whoever's talking.
Can you guys hear me?
yes. Okay, I'm gonna butt in while he's figuring that out. But to that
Carl,
point,
we can't hear
you had those three alumni, right? They had very different perspectives on lives and on their lives and what they do. And now you could say, okay, next time you come to this, you're going to get three other perspectives on this, or two other perspectives that are very different from the three that you experienced tonight. And I think it's a thing that could get people to keep coming back, because all you're doing is learning more about life, and you're learning more.
Right.
about how
Okay, I
to-
got that part there, Tony. Exactly. I mean, I took away so much from this. And sorry, I'm kind of cutting in and out here. My data has just gotten terrible all of a sudden. Yeah, so I was just going to say, I mean, there's just so many cool stories here, and just so many different perspectives. I love hearing from the older alumni and what they have to say and how that's very unique compared to my experience. And it's not about me, it's about the students, but it's really cool to see the variety and diversity of experiences. I don't know if Mukundon was able to say it, but I mean, we had the coolest person in our group, Akash at Tesla. So, I mean, it's just interesting to hear how people got to where they are and what went into that. I mean, it's just so fascinating to me. So I'm almost just ready to like run through a brick wall after hearing everything here. I just think this is so value add. The fact that this is free, like, wow. I mean, really incredible.
Anna, you've been quiet. Anything to add?
Sorry, were you talking to me?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear the name that you said. I thought you said Hannah.
I've decided to make
Terrible.
this about me right now. So I'm
I'm so sorry.
I just think this is awesome. So I feel like, I mean, you were in our group, our breakout group, and Shiraj was, and I'm like, there's so much to learn from every one of these people that logged onto this thing tonight. And just like Carl said, the value add of this is insane. It's insane to know this stuff as, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids is crazy to me. And the fact that these guys have the opportunity to sit here and listen to exactly people that work at Tesla, people that, are on the news, like all of this stuff is prep for life. It's prep for life. I don't know why I'm going psycho about it, but I am.
Well, no, I appreciate it. I love your enthusiasm. That's great.
Could add them to the conversation.
No, go ahead.
I'm done. And
I feel like you're just a little Mr. Brightbach, or maybe, like I see like a connection, a resemblance, and you guys are like right next to each other on my screen, and it's like, it's there. It's there.
I'm gonna head out, but it was nice being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo.
London, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for staying as well. I really appreciate it.
Matthew was disappointed you didn't come to open play.
Yeah, well, I'm doing this.
All right, see ya.
All right.
No, this, yeah. I mean, the goal of this is, it's funny because we talk. I mean, we're big dreamers, so we have to live what we preach and really take this thing. And that was not our intent, but that's okay. I mean, I get so much energy, and Carl mentioned, just from hearing the alumni talk about, all their stories. I took so many notes tonight, and we'll put some stuff together. We'll all quit our day jobs and, you guys stop going to classes and we can vote.
You have administrative power, you know. I don't really need to go to pre-calculus. Pre-calculus not as important.
The alumni are demanding more of you guys.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We started off.
No, to be honest, I have not. I mean, and I said this after the one in November. We really haven't tapped into even, like Tony, you mentioned reaching out to teachers. That's going to be my next move. Is say, okay, we've done this, and I'm going to use the alumni. I said the alumni says we need to get more students here, so you know they can invite students, and we just got to get more. You know, we'll do this again. We get a few more teachers to join us. We'll put together a promo because I think people are like, what is it, right? But it's fun.
And I think that's where that key is. I mean, I think I don't know if Abby worked for Nestle, like, then Akash worked for Tesla. So there's names that you can use. Hey, you know, let's talk to an employee of Tesla. Let's talk to, you know, the guy who, Ted, I think, you know, let's talk to the guy who owns so-and-so physical therapy practice, right? All of these things become interests there, and some of them are already interests amongst your students. So if you can say, hey, so-and-so of Tesla, oh, this guy works for Tesla, maybe I want to come listen to what that's about, right? And I don't know what you guys have done this sounds, you know, kind of creepy, but I don't know what you guys have done to market this and gain that interest. But I think those are some of the things that you can do. You know, obviously in Iowa, are they going to school? Is this or no? Are they going live to school?
Half and half.
They have an option to go live or to be online.
Oh, okay. But I was gonna say, like, I don't know, like, if you post this thing up in the hallways, or I don't know how that works, but
no one reads the signs in the hallways, but yes, we're working on social media stuff. Yeah, I mean, all this advice is very great. We are very passionate about it. I mean, a lot of us just got done with like college apps and everything, so we're going to be able to put a lot more time into it. Actually, like, make promo. Our event in November, we kind of screwed up and didn't record it, but we recorded it this time. I have the recording. It's recording. You can probably see the little button. So yeah, thank you so much. You have all our contact information too, or Mr. Brightbox. So send ideas and we'll make sure to include you in all of our next events, even if you just want to Zoom bomb.
Well, I'll tell you the me, I will be looking through my friends list on Facebook, because I am sure there are other alum in my class who also are in journalism, and I'll keep an eye out. I just want to say, like, kudos to you guys, because I've been reporting on a lot of different things regarding activities amid the pandemic, because you guys are in a very unique position. I mean, as much as advice is like we're giving, I have no idea what it was like to be in a position where it's like half and half, where you have the decision to go all virtual as a high school student. That's something that, like, 'cause my youngest sister is a freshman in high school, and she's in Illinois, so it's all virtual, like the whole 9 yards for her up to this point. So kudos to you guys for not only, you know, putting all of this together, but really thinking outside the box and providing a valuable resource in a pandemic for students just like you guys. So just really kudos to you. Thank you so much for giving us all this opportunity on this platform.
Thanks for coming. Your advice about Iowa was very great, and I feel like I'm ready to go into journalism at Iowa. I'm ready. So
I am so excited for you. No matter what path in journalism you choose, I am so happy. I'm so excited. Iowa is a great program, whether you go into broadcast or the news side of things, like the newspaper side of things. And of course, communications, I believe, was her name? Oh man, I'm terrible with names. You think a journalist would be great at names?
Anna or Caroline. They're both journalists too. So yeah.
Yeah, so the communications is also great too, because we share a lot of the same buildings and same space. So just, it's a great program. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks, guys, for putting this on and for the invite. I'm going to head out, but really, this is an awesome idea. I'd love to share any insights or anything I can do on my end to get people connected. I know a lot of people in finance, so if that was ever something that you might be interested in, I could probably pull some people I know from my class and surrounding classes. As well as like I used to bring in people for events, and so I'd love to brainstorm stuff if you guys are interested. While I was in college, just bringing in alumni speakers for a finance club I was in. So yeah, thanks for doing this. Awesome idea. I mean, just fantastic. And yeah, have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Double that. I'm on my way out as well. And thanks for having me 2 days in a row. That was super fun.
Thanks for
I may have gotten more out of this than students did, but and I feel bad about that. But at the same time, it was just very, very enjoyable, and this was a great thing to put on. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
All right, I'm also gonna head out too, but again, thank you so much for all this opportunity. Please let me know like what other events you have down the line. And again, I will be also on the lookout for other alums in my grade and surrounding classes and whatnot who'd be interested in doing something like this. Thank you so much for giving us all this opportunity.
Thank you. See you later.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Now we've created this monster.
I'm inspired.
What's that?
What did we do? Oh my.
Good.
This is no, the thing we had, no, and again, you guys benefit and the students who came benefited. And so that's the age, how do we draw more, and we'll keep working on it, but
I think
they're right. I mean,
the biggest thing we need to do now is get a leadership committee, or as we call it in journalism, an editorial board, not like to do editorials, but to get like someone who can be in charge of marketing and advertising, and get someone who like plans the events and like that kind of stuff. I know we have us, and then Sylvia's had a tough couple of days with her and her car and everything, and then getting sick. So we're going to count on her later, but yeah, I think we need some younger representation too, because obviously we're all kind of upperclassmen. Paige, you're a sophomore, but we love you because you're going to carry this on and have it for like 2 more years, and it can be your baby. So
yeah, I'm interviewing. Well, I think I'm reaching out to Abigail because like Life After a Trojan, we have one coming out the 15th. So I think I'm going to have her do that. But this, like having all these people, like I could probably honestly do one every week.
Right. We could like expand Life as a Trojan and make it like
a partnership somehow.
Yeah.
We have like such a cool like collection of sound bites now with like this entire webinar, like all the breakout rooms. We can post like a daily sound bite from the alumni like on Instagram or something.
but I did the ones in November were recorded.
Are they really? Do you have them?
I've got them. Did I send those today? I thought I shared them. I can't remember. Are you at school tomorrow?
Have them. Am I at school?
Alyssa, are you? Yeah. Are you on?
Wink, wink.
Are
No.
you just there on Thursday?
Yes.
Are you there Thursday?
I'm there every day.
I won't tell anybody.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. I have to meet with.
Sometime, if not tomorrow or Thursday, sometime next week. Stop in. I can figure out how to share all this with you. And no, because I think what I want to do is take just their advice, that segment, their advice to their high school self, and put that, because that was about 10 minutes maybe. And we can make those into smaller ones.
Yeah.
And get those. What I want to do is send it out to the teachers. Actually, if we put that together, I will send it out to the staff and say, here's what we're about. Come, please come join us, and encourage your students to come join us. We haven't, and really I haven't tapped into like our parent pool and our teachers at all. So, but that's the next move.
Mr. Breitbach, do you know of any alumni that are like in advertising or that are in marketing that maybe we could reach out to help us really get people in?
I mean, Abby seemed really into us reaching out also, so she could definitely help us.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I think that would probably help too is like on the Google Forms that we have people sign up on, maybe it would be a good idea to have like each of the people that are going to be speaking in a little bio next to that name, like in description. That way people know like these are the people that are coming, these are the people that are speaking. I'm interested in them. So
yeah, and I've been looking at like Zoom kind of things and how to organize breakout rooms and have people jump through breakout rooms. I've been looking, it's very complicated. And when Tony was like having 250 students, I'm like, there's no way I can organize that into breakout rooms. But yeah, we'll figure this out. But I think we should just do kind of more taking baby steps. I like to take baby steps because this is all too much information for my little brain to handle. We should have
exciting.
What?
I'm so excited.
It's so exciting.
I know it's exciting, but
Mind right now.
put it into little steps. So for me, I think we should have some more leadership meetings and kind of like make an ed board per se. And then we can use that to kind of assign tasks so that we're not all doing like a million things. Cause I know I am very busy for the next like week because I have a huge scholarship thing that I have to do for journalism. So, well, that's just me. I don't know how busy you guys are, but if we do like little tasks for each of us and then kind of find friends that we trust and that we think would be good or people who attended, like I think McCundon would be a really great resource to tap to be kind of more on our leadership committee. And then figuring out like what to do with our little morning meetings. I want to say that we have those still. I really don't know because I have not been to one in like forever because there's just so much going on. So figuring that out in a schedule that kind of works for everyone. Yeah, I don't know how that sounds. I feel like I do too much talking, so I'm sorry.
I agree. Sorry for you. Go ahead.
Oh no, Alex, you can go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like we already have like this leadership core, but then we also have like our meeting regulars and they're like an underutilized resource. And then maybe like if we were able to encourage more people to come to those weekly meetings, that would also be a way to encourage attendance at these events.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do we know when our next meeting is? Anybody? Because I don't.
A morning meeting. I didn't do it in this week because we were focused on these two events. So, and maybe morning's not the best time. I mean, I would like to do, you know, a morning meeting. We tried that a couple of weeks ago, but the weather is not, that didn't cooperate. But almost to have a more, you know, I don't want to meeting it to death either, but with hybrids or with online students and on-site students. And I don't know what the rules are if we're going to be allowed to do, like our clubs, all clubs are still virtual, right?
I don't know. You're the administrator.
No, I'm not the administrator. I'm
Mine is at least, yeah.
I mean, can we meet during like homeroom? Like, is that a thing when people are all in person? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know.
You can move rooms during homeroom, yeah.
Yeah, so we could all like meet in the cafeteria and stuff like during that, and then have like either online students Zoom in or have like separate meetings for online students that would work with their schedules. Because I know everyone has homeroom at the same time, so that would be like a really easy time to utilize.
Aren't there days that there aren't homerooms on? What are those days?
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. Should we do those then? I don't know. I know during homeroom that I do Green and Gold Academy or something, but that's just me, so that doesn't pertain to anyone else.
And then I also know that online they don't have afternoon classes on what is it? Monday and Wednesday. Yeah. So
yeah, we just have to sit down and plan when it's not like 9 o'clock at night, you know?
Okay, I'm so pumped right now.
I know. I am too, but also like I go to bed early, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I think we've got a lot of good ideas. We'll just start.
We have, I think everyone should have access to that Google Drive doc folder, right? So if everyone wants to, like, I can make a folder, like a subfolder in there to put recordings in so that we all have access to them. And then I did a February follow-up email doc that's in there where I put everyone's names and emails in there. And then we can kind of like pick out a couple sentence bios that we could send out with them, maybe to the students who attended, and we could send it to the alumni too, so they could get in contact with each other if they wanted to. Yeah.
Okay.
Great work,
Yeah, I
guys.
definitely feel like everyone's idea. I think especially reaching out to teachers, because I know that like Miss McKeegan, she graduated from West High. I feel like if she knew about it, she definitely would.
Oh yeah, for sure.
want to come. And then, yeah, and I feel like she also would be one to like heavily support like students joining, because she does teach a lot of upperclassmen. And
Let's do it. Let's like have a day. Let's have a day where we get together and we just use the hell out of our emails, basically, and just contact everyone. I don't know when. Don't look at
One
me.
thing I want to add really quickly is I was reaching out to some of my friends individually, trying to get them to come, and some of them were seniors, and they were like, "Oh well, we kind of already know what we want to do, so I don't know how much it would like benefit us." So I think they're missing the point, kind of. But I think yes, I think that a big part of our advertising should be like making sure people know what it is, because Big Dreamers is like, if you just say Big Dreamers, you don't really know. So I think it's really important that people know what it's going to be and how it's going to help them, even if they know exactly what they want to do. And they probably don't know what they're going to do, because if they come to one of these meetings, they'll know it's going to change, and that's going to be okay.
I think a big part of that is like speaking to Hannah tonight. I'm like, I know I want to go into journalism. I don't know what kind of journalism I want to go into, you know, but then she opened like a whole entire new window in the breakout room where she's like, well, hey, you know, you can do this, like sports anchoring and like broadcast news kind of. And that's like more, so yeah, that's like a personal thing. But yeah, definitely seniors. We should figure out how to market.
Yeah.
Well, and I think somebody maybe we have a night for seniors targeted about success in college. Somebody mentioned that anyway. We could do some of that as well, and not to exclude everybody else. But we have a targeted audience of this is for seniors to transit, whatever. We'll come up with the promo on that.
I also thought the idea of using sound bites and like posting those on Instagram, like of good quotes that we heard. I think Owen does that for No Cap Recap using headline. So I think if we use that for like things that we heard, that would probably draw more people, and I feel like that could be really
yeah, I can reach out to Owen.
Or even just like crop the Zoom video so that we have like, because
Right.
that would just be like, but we could have the video component. I don't know.
Yeah. I just put another
All right.
document. It's the first one. It's called Ideas. Wait, let me get fancy. Just kidding. I can't. Because you won't be able to see my screen. I don't know. I can't screen share it. But yeah, just throw ideas on there and then we can like, no idea is bad. I say that for myself because I have a lot of interesting thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, we've been at this long enough. I think it's time to call it a night.
Yeah, I'm getting a little okay.
Oh,
You guys are awesome.
Not good for your eyes.
This is awesome.
Thank you guys.
you
Thanks.
guys.